Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Dear Co-Presidency of the WestMED Initiative, dear Minister Farrugia, dear Minister Abidine Maif, Excellencies, it's a real pleasure to be here and greet also the steering committee members, the national representatives and the observers, the representatives of the Union of the Mediterranean, and the dear stakeholders, because you are the real players on the ground to the benefit of sustainable blue economy in the Western Mediterranean. I'm fascinated by this opportunity to join this stakeholders conference. These conferences are actually doing the real job. The politicians are setting the direction, but you're then doing the job. Allow me to thank very warmly the WestMED Co-Presidency for organizing this conference. The Maltese colleagues have done their job perfectly well. I also would like to commend the excellent hackathon that our colleagues mentioned already for project development, because this is the nurturing event for networking and putting together the various initiatives that can synergize from each other. And to the co-chair, Mauritania in particular, I would like to say that I especially appreciate the engagement in the Mediterranean and for the added value of what you can offer as the Atlantic facade. As you, Minister, said, it is extremely important to connect the dots. Mediterranean is not standalone, it is so much connected to the Atlantic. The setting up of a national maritime cluster is an excellent news. But we are always looking forward, and we are looking to new opportunities. Before that, I would like to commend the progress under this co-presidency. It has been really impressive. Particularly the Maritime Spatial Planning community of practice. When we are talking about blue economy and scaling up the many activities we can do at sea, the most important enabling factor is actually maritime spatial planning. So this is extremely timely to have this community vibrant on the West Mediterranean side. Thank you very much, as Minister said, for the Memorandum of Understanding with the World Ocean Council, but also with the Union for the Mediterranean. Again, connecting the dots, extremely important not to be standalone and lonely rangers. Another key outcome is the Blue Mediterranean Partnership, which is a very recent initiative. And it was set up together with the European Investment Bank and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. And when we talk about funding, it's not only the European Union funding opportunities from the funds that we all know, but also the loan facilities coming from these two institutions that can multiply the resource behind the projects, beautiful projects we can have, and the initiatives we can develop. In fact, I think that it is safe to say that the WestMED initiative has been a success story since its creation, and it was created here in Malta 6 years ago. So many thanks for this nice closing the circle at a much higher level, I would say. According to our report, because the Commission is well known for reporting and examining the progress, this report was taking stock of the first 5 years of existence of WestMED, and our overall conclusion is that it is a valuable forum for North-South dialogue. And the two ministers were mentioning the engagement and dialogue behind. It is essential because this is the framework in which we can build something that is more intangible, which is trust. The figures are impressive, Minister, indeed. We have 92 million behind the projects which are close to 100, a bit less, but that will go up as project ideas. But we have already 160 other projects that are aligned with the initiative, and involves 600 partners from 10 member countries of this initiative. So it is no surprise that the WestMED is now regarded as a real milestone for the whole sea basin. How can it be improved? Because the report also talks about possible improvements. The first thing is that, as always, we have evolving challenges, we have evolving realities, and for this reason we have to adapt our priorities and adapt them to the other frameworks in which we work. The Commission communication, for example, on the new sustainable approach to blue economy, the Union for the Mediterranean Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Blue Economy. So they both appeared in 2021, and the EU's new Mediterranean agenda. It is for this reason that a high-level political meeting is taking place tomorrow, exactly to update the priorities and give reshaped guidance to the project managers. Hopefully it will culminate in the declaration that has been drafted under the skillful leadership of our teams, and it will reiterate the country's commitment to the momentum and will lead to a higher level of success in the next years. The purpose of tomorrow's ministerial is also to demonstrate unity. Today, more than ever, cooperation across borders is critical. We've seen what happened with the invasion of Russia into Ukraine, and it's a constant reminder that we cannot take peace and unity for granted. We have to nurture it every day at all levels and work for it. So our job for these 2 days is to trigger new ideas and projects. It was well outlined by our assistance mechanism leader, how we can trigger more ideas for our green ports or blue ports, how to make maritime transport improve energy efficiency and accompany it into energy transition, improve aquaculture practices, encourage cooperation among maritime clusters, emphasize the importance of the maritime spatial planning, develop blue skills and make coastal tourism more sustainable. Our fund is there to help. When I say our fund, because I'm coming from DG MARE, this is the European Maritime, Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund, but the Minister was very eloquent in saying that we have a number of other funds, so the blending element is essential. It promotes sustainable blue economy also in our southern neighborhood, which is why the latest calls for the Mediterranean were open to all the community, all the 10 countries. So the coastal tourism sector, the technical group on green shipping and ports, and the Alliance of Maritime Clusters have received an important boost through this funding. 7 proposals have received around €6 million. We are talking about millions here, and they are extremely needed and very well used by our stakeholders. We are also supporting the WestMED countries through the latest Blue Career Calls, which is instrumental for the blue skills. And let me remind that 2023 is the European Year for Skills, exactly for what the Minister said. Anytime we have new technologies, anytime we want to jump into development, we need the matching new skills. As we share a sea basin and its resources, the policies of the European Union have an impact on the region as a whole. That is certainly the case of at least 2 recent EU developments that are directly relevant to the work of WestMED. And I will mention the Fisheries and Ocean Package, which was issued in February this year, which sets the pathway for decarbonization, one of the 2 Ds that the Minister mentioned, and energy transition, which is based on digitalization, of course, and on the preservation of marine biodiversity. And I cannot agree more that all the economy will not be there if we don't have the natural capital on which it develops alive and sustainable. And the second initiative, which we talked about with the Minister this morning, this is the Maritime Security Strategy. Your Minister said how important maritime security is in order to have economy at sea. So this is something that we developed together with the High Representative in March. So this seeks to deepen maritime security cooperation with third countries and improve our response to new and evolving maritime security threats. So to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, it is no coincidence that we are all here in Malta again. The industry, the NGOs, academia, regional and national authorities sitting at the same time around the table again to discuss the way forward. The Stakeholder Conference has worked before and it will work together again. Let us come up with ideas and solutions to develop our maritime activities. Let us set up ourselves ahead of the curve and lead by example. Thank you very much.